Another championship weekend is on the cards with some eye-catching games being played this weekend. Let's see what I predict. What's up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. We've made it to match day 29 already in the championship. It is time for more score predictions. If you got a correct score, your comment will be on the screen right now. Fair play to all of you that got a correct score. Sam Newbold, well done for you getting 3 correct scores. I managed to get 1 correct score, which was the Reading and Brentford game. I'm the biggest loser out of it because I forgot to commentate on BenHD's prediction league. So I'm the biggest loser out of this weekend. This is what Alexa's Hall of Fame looks like now. Joshua Food, you've broken to 60 points. Charlie Brown, you are joint on points with me. It's going to be very, very close for that top 3 places. Onamatage and Sam Newbold are only separated by 1 point, so it's going to be very, very tight in Alexa's Hall of Fame. This weekend can be very, very important in terms of who commands in the leaderboard. If anyone's new to this series, I'll explain how it works. I leave all of this weekend's games in the description down below, including Championship and Premier League stuff. If you want to get your comment included and you want to have a shout out and a chance to be on Alexa's Hall of Fame, you simply have to predict what you think will happen in the game, and if you get it correct, your comment will be included and then Alexa's Hall of Fame. Just as easy as that. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do give it 3 likes, tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. We've hit a big landmark actually. We've hit 400 subscribers. It was teetering on and seesawing a little bit, but I think as a recording it's still 400. But if you can really make a push to 500 subscribers starting from today, that'd be fantastically appreciated. And please share my channel to as many people as you can. But without any further ado, let's go on and see what I think will happen in this weekend's games. So we start things off with a Lancashire derby, Blackburn against Preston. Now Preston would want to forget the reverse fixture as soon as they could, because they lost 3-0 and they were played out the park against the Blackburn side, where traditionally they have a fantastic record against. But Blackburn really defied the odds and they managed to beat their Lancashire rivals at last, quite comprehensively as well. It didn't help for Preston that they had Joe Rafferty sent off in this game as well. It was a very comprehensive victory, and it was more sort and win where their academy product Tyrese Dolan scores for Blackburn against them. Both of these sides had a loss last weekend. Of course, Preston lost against Rotherham, where I think they should have taken more of their chances. As with Blackburn, they lost against Queen's Park Rangers. A little bit disappointed actually for how little they actually created. Of course, they had more chances than Queen's Park Rangers, but they weren't clinical enough. But in this game, I do expect them to be a little bit more clinical. I'm interested to see if Sepp van den Berg will make his debut for Preston. I'm really excited to see how he gets on. As with Blackburn, I don't think there'll be too many changes. I think Joe Rothwell and Ben Brereton may go back into the squad. As a prediction for this game, it's really, really tight, really. And I was thinking a draw, but I think I might actually back Blackburn to do the double over Preston this season. I'm going to go with 2-1 Blackburn, and that's a bit of an instinctual prediction. And FIFA 21 is going to agree with me. Next up is Nottingham Forest going up against Bournemouth. Bournemouth was one of the few sides that actually managed to play in midweek. They beat Premier League Burnley to go through to the quarterfinals, where they've got to play against South Coast rivals Southampton. So a fantastic opportunity for them to actually go far in a cup competition, and fair play to them. They were actually playing some fantastic scintillating tough under Jonathan Woodgate in that game. As with Nottingham Forest, the last game that we saw them play was their victory against Wycombe. I know Wycombe were pretty defeated in that game, but Nottingham Forest were fantastic. It was the best performance I've actually seen of them in terms of integrating their new signings and integrating their old experienced players. So really encouraging signs coming out of Nottingham Forest, especially if we can see the likes of Glenn Murray and Anthony Knockaert still firing those goals. I think we can potentially see Nottingham Forest project themselves up the table. They are 13 points worse off than what they were in this stage last year. They've definitely got a lot of catching up to do. I expect this game to be pretty competitive. I don't see a lot of separation in terms of the sides. Bournemouth still under Woodgate. I don't really back them defensively, so I don't think they will be able to win this one. Forest have been able to ship less goals in and they've been getting better results. I'm going to compromise and say this will be a 1-1 draw. Can't really separate the two sides. FIFA has actually predicted a 0-0 draw, which could happen. Next up is Birmingham going up against Luton Town. Both these sides had contrasting results in the weekend. Birmingham lost 3-2 to Bournemouth, but I dare say their performances were actually really, really good, and were really unlucky not to get anything more from it. Scott Hogan was terrific to get the 2 goals. Even Sanchez, once again, causing so much trouble. If he can continue to fire and get the quality that he has managed to get with that Birmingham side, he will fish his side out of trouble, because they are currently in the relegation battle right now. If they don't improve results, then there'll be some severe pressure on Aitor Karanka. There's already been some pressure on Aitor Karanka with the position that Birmingham find themselves. As with Luton, they drew 1-1 with Huddersfield, and they had a somewhat okay performance actually. I definitely felt they were the better side in the first half. They kind of fell off a little bit in the second half. With this game, I think it'll be really, really competitive once again. I don't really see too much separating the two sides. I think Birmingham would definitely go for it. But with their poor home record, I'm not sure if I'm going to back Birmingham to get a victory in this game. Luton could easily win away from home. They've been picking up a load more points away from home and a load more points in general at this stage of the season than they did last year. I'm thinking a 1-1 draw, actually. I don't think there's going to be too much to separate the two sides. FIFA 21's predicted a 2-0 victory to Birmingham, where if that's the case, that's a huge victory for the Blues. Next we've got Cardiff going up against Coventry. Both sides in very contrasting runs of form right now. Cardiff are now undefeated in 4 under Mick McCarthy with 2 wins on the bounce. They had a fantastic 2-1 away victory against Rotherham. They did manage to weather the storm a little bit, but they really went for it in that second half to really get the game to life, and fair play to them, they did manage to get the win. In terms of Coventry, they are winless now in 3 games. They did manage to get a draw against Watford. And I definitely feel, in terms of chances' sake, I don't think they deserved anything out of it. They just simply did not create enough to test Watford. And away from home, I've been a little bit concerned with Coventry's form, if I'm going to be honest with you. Cardiff at home, definitely, I feel, are a lot better. And I think just in general, they've improved their shape and they look a lot more dangerous going forward. And they've got a better identity of what their style of play is under Mick McCarthy. So following this, I think Cardiff will go on a little bit of a run. And I think with Coventry, I think they can brush them aside. I'm going to predict that Cardiff get a 2-0 victory, and FIFA 21 has predicted a 3-0 victory to Cardiff. Next up, we've got Derby going up against Middlesbrough. It's hard to judge Derby at the moment because they've not played for quite a substantial amount of games. They were supposed to play last weekend against Barnsley, but that got postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. But Derby last game had a really poor away defeat against Rotherham. However, in their last 2 home games, they've managed to pick up 1-0 victories. So at home, I think Derby are slowly but surely starting to improve. As with Middlesbrough, right now, I'm not really backing their run of form right now. They are winless in 4 games, 3 defeats in 4 for Middlesbrough. And following this, they've been left behind a little bit in terms of trying to get into that top 6. They need to start picking up more points, or more or less pray that sides in the top 6 keep continuing to drop points if they want to have any chance of sneaking into that top 6. But right now, I'm thinking Derby could actually get this one. Derby, for me, are one of the teams you cannot predict. They really get a result out of the blue. Derby have just slowly but surely just been able to grind out a couple of games, just edge a couple of games in their way. And I think this may be another example of one of those. Unless Middlesbrough score early. If Middlesbrough score early, I think Middlesbrough will cruise. But I think the longer this game goes on, I think the more likely Derby will get in terms of winning. So I'm going to say a bit of a shock, a 1-0 victory to Derby. I think I need to take a little bit more risks in these predictions. And FIFA 21 is actually going to agree with me. Next over, we've got Huddersfield versus Wycombe. Both sides not in great runs of form right now. Huddersfield win this in 6. Wycombe win this in 5. Both of these sides really want some points as soon as they can. The reverse fixture was a very dull 0-0 draw. And I'm hoping that this game is not going to follow the same fate. Huddersfield, however, in terms of performances, I think they deserved a little bit more in their past couple of games. They were very unfortunate not to get anything more against that Luton game. And that Stoke game as well, especially. They definitely should have got a lot more than just a 1-1 draw out of it. Wycombe, since that 7-2 defeat against Brentford, they've not managed to score a goal. And that's ultimately why they're really struggling now. And they definitely need to try and pick up their scoring boots as soon as they can. If they can't score goals, then forget trying to have any chance of survival. And I think with this game, I think Wycombe will be going a little bit of a roll. I think Huddersfield will take full opportunity and pounce on Wycombe being a little bit low in confidence. I'm going to say a 2-0 victory to Huddersfield. FIFA 21 has predicted a 1-0 victory to the Terriers. Next up, we've got Norwich going up against Stoke City. The first fixture was a 5-goal thriller, a 3-2 away victory. I remember it well because I was actually live streaming an Among Us game during the set of midweek games. It was a mad game, actually. Norwich were 3-0 up and Stoke got 2 late goals and made it a very intense finish. Both of these sides, I think, definitely do need the points for very different reasons. Norwich need as many points as they can right now to keep in the race in terms of getting promotion. Right now, Swansea got a game in hand from Norwich, and if they win it, they would actually fall out in the top 2 and will be in the playoffs. Norwich did have a similar stage like this when they got promoted 18-19, and they did manage to turn their form around, and I think definitely they've got the squad for it. They've definitely got a good enough squad to get promoted. As with Stoke right now, they're just slowly but surely falling down the table in their 9th place right now. They've not won in 8 games, which I think is a little bit concerning. With this game, it's really close, really. I can see Norwich just scraping a win, but you know what? I think the form for Norwich is just not going to be quite there at the moment. It may stretch to one more game. Then they'll definitely take their opportunity and they'll start going on a good run of form again. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. FIFA 21 has predicted a 1-0 away victory to Stoke City. Next time we've got Reading going up against Millwall. Reading did not have a good showing in midweek whatsoever. They lost 3-1 to a Brentford side that were keen to be in the top of the championship. Millwall have seemed to have fixed their form right now. They've unbeaten in 5 games so far. Millwall slowly but surely are starting to climb up. They are now 14th place in the table and their position looks a lot more stronger in terms of definitely surviving in the championship. Now, I think it's going to take a miracle run of form if they want to try and get in the top 6. I think now they just want to try and get a good string of results to make sure that they finish in a reasonable mid-table position. As with Reading, they've got a lot more to play for. They have got a top 6 place in play. And they're still 8 points ahead of 7th place Middlesbrough. So they do have a little bit of leeway. But they'd rather want to try and win as many games as they can because they're starting to lose the gap in the rest of the top 3 because they have 5 points behind Swansea City. I think this game will be very, very competitive. I know Reading being involved with a couple of 0-0 draws recently, but I think Reading will respond in this game. I definitely think they've got a good bounce back ability with Reading, so I'm going to say they'll win this one. I'm going to say a 2-1 victory to Reading. FIFA 21's predicted a 1-0 victory to Reading. Next up is Watford going up against Bristol City. Two sides which I don't think are playing particularly well right now, especially with the squad that they've got in front of them. Watford at the moment are winless in 3 games, and definitely if they keep this poor run of form continue, they'll have a little bit of jeopardy in keeping to that top 6 place. They're lucky that they're 8 points ahead of 7th place Middlesbrough. As with Bristol City, they've had 3 defeats in a row. Following this, they are 10th place in the table and definitely starting to lose a little bit of hope getting into that top 6. But a win against Watford would definitely strengthen their opportunity in having a good chance to be in the race for the top 6. Bristol City did play midweek. They did have to play against Sheffield United. They did unfortunately lose by 1-0, and it was a very unfortunate decision as well. It was a red card from a handball. I think definitely with championship clubs that will be going up from the championship, they've got to be very prepared with VAR. I'm going to say a draw. I don't really back either side to really get a win. I'm not really confident with either of them, so I'll compromise and say a 1-1 draw. FIFA 21 has predicted Watford to go back to winning ways with a 2-1 victory. And last game to predict is Brentford going up against Barnsley. How good is Ivan Toney? Okay, we talked about the championship top goal scorers in seasons. He's already matched Andre Gray's total. He succeeded Matej Vydra's goal total. He had 3 goal contributions to Brentford's 3 goals last game against Reading. There's only been 7 games this season where he actually has not contributed to a goal. Potentially with 18 games left, he only needs 8 more goals to overtake Glenn Murray's record. I mean, those stats are unbelievable. And I think that happens when you've got a confident side like Brentford with 5 wins in a row and unbeaten in 21. They play a Barnsley side, which I dare say, midweek against Chelsea, were fantastic. I actually think it was a little bit unfortunate they couldn't really at least force the draw into extra time. I know Chelsea weren't great, but Barnsley really turned up. They really gave me a little bit of a scare, honestly. I think this game's going to be a bit of a cracker. I'm going to say a 5-goal thriller, a 3-2 victory. I think it's just going to be one of those games that's just going to completely explode, and I hope that's the case. And knowing me, it'll be a 0-0 draw now. But FIFA 21 has predicted a 3-1 victory to Brentford. But that is all my score predictions. If you guys want to predict, if you guys want to have a chance to have a shout out, please make sure you do predict your score predictions in the comments down below. Without any further ado, now it's the Premier League prediction. Leicester and Liverpool. I think Leicester will beat Liverpool. I think Liverpool will still struggle with form. 2-1 Leicester, I feel. Crystal Palace and Burnley. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think Burnley may get an away point. Manchester City and Tottenham. I think Manchester City will capitalise on Tottenham's poor form. 3-1 Manchester City. Brighton and Aston Villa. I'm going to say 1-0 Villa, actually. I don't see many goals in this game. Southampton and Wolves, the rematch. Obviously, Southampton played against Wolves in the FA Cup and they managed to beat them by 2-0. I'm going to say Southampton will still continue their winning ways against Wolverhampton and say 1-0. West Brom and Man United. I think Man United will win this one. I'm going to say 2-0. Arsenal and Leeds. I think Arsenal will win this one. I won't lie. I'm going to say 2-0 Arsenal. Everton Fulham. I'm going to say 3-0 Everton. West Ham, Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United will get a decent point out of it. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. Chelsea, Newcastle. I hate predicting Chelsea to win, but I'll narrowly edge Chelsea to get a 1-0 victory. But that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video today, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done and you're new around here, please subscribe to the channel. It would really, really make my day. Let's try and make a push to 500 subscribers starting from today. That'll be fantastically appreciated. And if you can, please share my channel to as many people as you can. All that would really make my day. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary. If you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care, everyone.